What is up, all of you awesome and amazing people on YouTube? The old coot here coming at you with another exciting Italian Amati, right, plural, video. This one might not be necessarily an Amaro or Amati or a bitter, but I just kind of threw it into the mix because of the Averna, and I'll explain that in a second. These are some vintage bottles, and how do you know you have vintage bottles when you have this whole thing going on where like they tagged it right from Italy, right? Here's this original product imported from Italy. These are the ones that you would find like at your wine and spirits shop or liquor store pre 2000, that's for sure. But even before that, I don't even know how far this bottle goes back. If you know, or you think you know, comment in the comment section down below, because I'd be curious. But I know 100% that this is pre 2020, pre 2020, that's for sure. Anyways, the Cafe Granita, that's what this one looks like. Liqueur di Cafe. Basically, it's a coffee liqueur, as you can see right there. 21% alcohol by volume. By the way, just to keep people up to date, this one is 11% alcohol by volume. And then the Averna. I have been trying to find a bottle like this for a while. This is a more older bottle, let's say, pre-2020, 100%, probably even maybe pre-2010, not sure. But this is the 1 liter size. As you can see there, it says 100 centiliter, which is basically 1 liter, 1,000, whatever that is. Anyways, this one from Caltanissetta, which is kind of like the middle of Sicily pretty much. And this one has more, we're going to get into it, but this one has more of like a coffee chocolate bitter taste. We're leaning away from the colas. If you remember in the last few videos that I've been posting about these, a lot of those were like cola kind of based Kinotto, but this is more, I just wanted to do a video about the coffee and maybe some chocolatey kind of notes. And then Aperol is just the gold standard when it comes to like aperitivi. Not necessarily the gold standard, but just the one that everybody knows the most, or one of the most common. This and Campari would be the 2 most common. So anyways, let's crack these open. So I've already kind of pre-opened them just so they were easier to open on camera. But the way I usually do this is I'll pour in like maybe about a half an ounce or so, something like that. And then let's do the same with the Cafe Granita, which Granita in Italian, you think of Granita as being like an iced dessert kind of a thing, like a sorbet or sherbet. But anyways, let's pour in about a half an ounce of this or so. Something like that should be fine. Maybe a little more. Let's go for the gold. Okay. And then here comes the Averna, which is it's very complex. I'll get into that in a second here, but let's go ahead and pour this one in. And I might get some little leakage because it is that old. Okay, there we go. Whoops, a little bit more of that one than I wanted, but that's fine. Okay, so Averna, Cafe Granita, and the Aperol. Now, the next thing I do, this is usually... see if I can get this one open. Usually what I do is I don't drink these straight. I never do. I always mix in club soda, mineral water, that kind of vibe. Today I'm using San Pellegrino. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. But hey, if any of these companies are watching and they want to hook me up, yes, let's talk. But anyways, usually what I do is I put in some San Pellegrino. It's kind of like maybe like a 1-to-2 ratio, something like that, just to kind of break it up a little bit. It also helps me to kind of pick out some of the more interesting flavors and notes that are in there without just getting bombarded with alcohol, even as light as the alcohol is in there. So anyways, you've already seen me do Aperol in the past, but let's go ahead and just sip it and smell it now for the sake of curiosity. So on the nose, it's very citrusy, it's very orangey, and then it has like a little bit of that bitter smell as well. And then to the taste... very refreshing. It's got a nice bitterness to it. If you're familiar with Kinotto, the Italian non-alcoholic beverage Kinotto, it kind of tastes like that. And the camera's not picking it up. I think it's just a color balance thing, but this is very red. It's very red and it's very orange. And it's not really showing up on camera, but it's kind of like a neon red color. And that's basically what it looks like. But the taste, what you're tasting is orange and bitter. That's basically what you're tasting. Not complex at all. It's very light. It's just designed to kind of get your appetite going, kind of like before a meal. So this would be an aperitivo. Okay, the next one, this is Cafe Granita, Liqueur di Cafe. Let me go and smell it real quick. Yeah, so I'm getting a little bit of bitter, and I'm smelling definitely the coffee, and there's just like notes, like very, like in a percentage of 100, I would say maybe there's like 2, 3, 4% of that 100 I'm picking up that smell of like very dark chocolate. So let's go ahead and give this one a sip. We'll see what it's like. Coffee, 100% coffee. That's the bulk of what I'm getting. Very, like in that percentage of 100, very, very, very minor chocolate. Like 1%, I'm tasting that dark chocolate that's in there. What I'm getting the most of though is coffee, just Italian espresso coffee. That's kind of what I'm tasting. It's not strong. You know, obviously I mixed it with San Pellegrino or club soda or mineral water. It's not that strong. You know, if I probably drank this straight, I would probably get more of that coffee push. But even now, after what is this, like 20, 30 seconds of sipping on it and kind of slurping it around and all that good stuff, it's a lingering, beautiful coffee flavor. It's kind of like Trader Joe's coffee ice cream, and it's still there. I'm still getting it. Even I gotta take another drink because this is so good. That is delicious. It's not too bitter at all. I mean, this, just for comparison, this might be just like a touch more bitter, but that's like on the bitter scale. But it's very coffee. It is a little sweet. You do get a little bit of sugar in there as well, but it's more, I would say it's more sweet than bitter. So that's for sure. This is just bitter, with like a minor amount of sweetness. But this one is coffee 100%. Okay, the Averna. This one is highly acclaimed. A lot of people talk about it. And this happens to be the 1 liter size. Like I said, this is a vintage bottle from Gulf 27 or whatever. Anyways, let me go ahead and smell it, see what kind of smells I'm picking up. So the predominant smell that I'm getting is kind of like, it's like a mix. It's kind of like a mix between, like, and we're talking subtle. And remember, it is mixed with San Pellegrino, so I'm not getting the full brunt of this. Actually, let me get a full brunt of this. Hang on. Yeah, so what I'm definitely getting right off the bat is more coffee than anything else. So a little bit more coffee, and then like chocolate would be the next one. Like in a percentage of 100, the smell that I'm picking up is maybe something like 40% coffee, maybe 35% chocolate, and then maybe like 25% of something that's just a well-rounded blend of like, it seems like there's some like good, like not really woodsy. It's kind of hard to describe. I'm smelling the bitter, that's for sure, but it's kind of like a dark smoked chocolate is kind of like what I'm getting in that last 25%. So there's the main chocolate, and then there's like a darker roasted chocolate, if that makes sense. Like they roasted the cacao beans before they ground it up and put it into chocolate. That's kind of what it tastes like, what it smells like. So let's go ahead and taste it. That is just delicious. It's got a very unique taste. It's not like the Chinar I've tried. It's not like the Gran Classico. It's not like Kinoto. It's very much more like this. There's more coffee and chocolate, but coffee would be the top flavor, chocolate would be underneath it, following closely behind. Not too bitter either. There's a sweetness there, and I'm not getting too much of the bitter. So ironically, in this whole lineup of 3, Aperol tastes the most bitter. Let me just, yeah, that's the irony. That's the complete irony is, and I think it makes sense because Averna is more of a digestive, right? A digestivo, which is something you would have either towards the end of the meal or at the end of the meal, kind of like with dessert or whatever. And it makes sense. Coffee and cake, coffee and dessert, it kind of makes sense. So just to quickly recap, the Aperol is a little bit more on the bitter side compared to just, within these 3. The Aperol has a citrus note to it, and it's got very little sugar. Like it's more bitter than sugar. And it's got that orangey, bitter, that orange peel bitterness to it. Okay, the Cafe Granita is coffee, like 99% coffee in the taste profile. And then like 1%, there's like a 1 or 2% of the 100% total. I would say 1 or 2%, you're getting some kind of dark, deep chocolate flavor that's just there. And this is sweet. This is definitely a sweeter one. Bitterness is very, very low. Maybe less than like, let me. Yeah, even though coffee is bitter, this is like that Trader Joe's coffee ice cream, or like, one of those other big box brand name coffee ice creams. That's kind of what it's like. So you're getting like just a subtle amount of bitterness, but it's not like, oh my God, that's what. If you've never tasted anything bitter in your entire life and you try this, you would say, oh, that's bitter. But compared to the Aperol, this is definitely way less bitter. There's more sugar. And when I say sugar, I'm not talking like this rush blast of sugar that's coming at you. No, it's not like that. You taste the coffee first. That's what you taste. That's what your tongue picks up, the palate picks up. Then there's a good balance of sweetness in there to the bitterness, with the sweetness winning out by maybe like 1 or 2%. Does that make sense? So like 48%, let's say bitter, 52% sweet. But when you combine those together and you balance them out, this would be like just maybe like 2, 3, 4% more bitter than the sweet is within the beverage. I hope that makes sense. Yes? No? I don't know. Comment down below. Okay, then the Averna, compared to all the rest of them, this one would be, I would say, as close to like a 55-45% split between coffee being 55% and then 45% being a dark, deep chocolate. So what are you getting with that? You're getting, even with this one, you're getting like some of those caramel notes, like those dark caramel notes. You're getting some just, there's like those subtleties in there. Like maybe there's like a little bit of vanilla in there. Maybe there's definitely vanilla in this one. Like minor. We're talking like in a percentage of 100, like 1% of that would be that vanilla. You taste it, it's there, but it's like vanilla is one of those background notes that you always taste and you're like, oh, it tastes good, but you might not necessarily be able to pick it out singularly or isolate it. But this is delicious. There's hardly any cola. I'm not going to say that there's no cola taste in here. Like the same way, like if Cynar was over here or wherever you want to put it into this scale, Cynar, your Gran Classico, those kind of Amaro are going to have that cola taste, especially the Cynar has that cola taste. That Lazzaroni that I tried, that I accidentally deleted the video, that Lazzaroni was definitely like a cola kind of forward taste. Kind of like, think unsweetened root beer, unsweetened Coca-Cola, unsweetened Pepsi, that kind of vibe. This and all of these do not have any of that cola taste. So if you're looking for something cola, stay tuned. I'll try to do one more video, maybe tomorrow, day after, something like that. I'm going to pick up some new ones at another location in Los Angeles that I found. Hopefully they've got some good ones there. We'll see what happens. But cola is not in any of these. Okay, another one too. Big question that always comes up is licorice, mint, any of that kind of stuff. No, the Averna to me does not have that Jägermeister licorice medicinal licorice taste. None at all. So if you're wondering that, no. Stay tuned. I'll do another video specifically on Averna. We'll kind of touch on that. But for now, there's no licorice. There's no mint. There's no medicinal taste. There's no cola. There's no piney. There's none of that kind of stuff. The only like wood related thing you would get is there's like a hint, like in a percentage of 100, there's like a hint, maybe 1 or 2% of some smokiness going on, but it's a good smoke. It's like smoked chocolate. It's like, remember what I said earlier, it's kind of like they took the cacao beans, roasted them, and then smoked them. But very, very minor. Very, 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 very minor. Anyways, hope you like what you're seeing. Hope this video out there helps someone. I'm the Old Coot. Check out the description section down below. I'll put some stuff down there, and also hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll catch you all in the next exciting video.